Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of the TV is Our Real Mom podcast. I'm Dave.
I'm Catie.
And here we are to discuss episode 13 of Survivor Winners at War. And man, Catie, there's like a ton to talk about here. A lot going on in this episode.
Yeah, I guess there is. I feel like a lot happened, but also a lot didn't happen.
I mean...
You know what I'm saying?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. I guess Jeremy going has been inevitable for the last 5 weeks, so that wasn't like a surprise.
Yeah.
Disappointing, not a surprise.
Yep.
The Nick thing was a little more surprising. I think there's a little more to talk about in that section of happenings, but yeah, I just was looking at that final 7 at Tribal Council, and I was like, wow. Or no, yeah, 7. No, 6. I'm sorry. The final 6 at Tribal Council. And I was like, oh my God. So really, it's just Tony and Denise. And the other 4 was like my worst nightmare that'd be the 4, that they'd make it down to the end. I mean, it's not a nightmare because they've all done stuff that's interesting, but not who I'd choose.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and we mentioned this last week too, I think. If you go back and listen to what we discussed at the beginning of the season, we pretty much predicted that, yeah, all the old school big names, they're gonna be gone. They were
outnumbered. It was unfair.
There's gonna be Michelle there. There's gonna be Nick there. There's gonna be Ben there. I don't think we talked about Sarah really, but
after she got so many pregame votes, it seemed unlikely she'd make it this far. But she's a better player than we thought.
She's good. And then
yeah.
I think we both suspected, even though Denise is
good,
a great player, we suspected she would be there. And on top of that, we added in the caveat that, of course, 1 or 2 of these big names are going to get through, and that's where you get Tony. Tony's the one.
I would never have guessed that it would be Tony.
Yeah,
though.
I think we never would have given him any chance of being that one, but we did say that, 1 or 2 big names are going to get through, and the rest is going to be Michelle, Ben, Nick, whatever. So it went exactly as we expected it would.
Well, I mean, there was definitely some twists and turns, and it's easy to say that at the outset, but it never follows the path you think it's going to.
Right, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, and the journey's been a lot of fun. There's been a lot of twists and turns, like you said, along the way, but yeah, if you're looking at the results, it's pretty much what we said.
So if right now, I guess we're not really talking details, but right now, if you had to guess who the final 3 would be, of course someone's coming back in, but who would you say the final 3 will be?
Man, it's tough to say. Do you think if Natalie gets back in, do you think they'll let her make it to the final 3?
She can make it to the final 3 all she wants. She's not going to win. If people have a problem with an Underwood win, imagine someone playing 5 days and winning. Because they said on that 10-minute recap of the season that it's day 35, and she was voted out maybe day 2. So she's going to have 6 days under her belt. That's half of what Underwood had.
Right, but it doesn't matter what we think. It matters what the jury thinks, and the jury is made up of Edge of Extinction people, all who relished the idea. Same problem we had with the original Edge of Extinction season, which is why Edge of Extinction sucks and everyone hates it, because the problem is with the jury being there, they all relish the thought of being that person. So they're all going to vote for that person if they get to the end, I feel like.
It's a flawed idea.
It's a flawed idea.
Natalie Anderson has had 35 days to sit there. She had 14 fire tokens. She was able to buy 3 advantages of idol for herself and idol for Tyson. It's unfair how much more time she had than everyone else. Of course she has 14 fire tokens. Not only has she been there that long, but she's like a beast. So it's just, and she's known as the Queen of Extinction, so they would want to vote for her. Whether or not they're going to follow through on that impulse, I don't know. It'll be an interesting experiment to compare this to the actual Edge of Extinction. If the person who comes back, makes it to the final 3, will winners have more respect for the game and use Edge of Extinction against them rather than as a vote for them. It'll be an interesting. I mean, I kind of hope the person doesn't make it to the final 3, but if they do, it'll be a interesting comparison.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'd rather just see Natalie get in the game and go right out personally, but yeah, if she does make it to the final 3, you're right. That'll be an interesting experiment, I guess. But
right.
I don't like where that's heading. I mean, it to me.
So you think she's in no matter what? Like no one else has a chance?
I mean, how could anyone else have a chance? She has Tyson on her side. I guess that doesn't really matter. I was gonna say like
not in the challenge,
not in the challenge, but like is she the only one that was able to buy all 3 advantages? Right. Okay, so she's got that going for her. The peanut butter, she was chowing down on peanut butter like in anticipation of the challenge. Hopefully not like immediately before the challenge, so she gets like a stomach ache or something. That could be bad. But yeah, she's well fed, and she's hungry in a metaphorical sense.
And she's already like the most athletic person out there.
Yeah, she's already got that going for her. She's smart. She's got it all. It's a foregone conclusion to me, pretty much. But
which is why it's just they shouldn't do it anymore. It's completely flawed. It sucks.
Yeah, I don't like it. But
we know that. It's
let's just assume that Natalie goes out
right
first.
away.
Like, well, she can't. She has an idol.
Yeah.
Okay, so
she's final 4, and
so
she just has to make fire. And if she makes fire, she's been on Extinction for a month. She's in.
Yeah, I mean, it's so flawed. They put her back in the game in the same situation as Chris Underwood. It's ridiculous. The more I talk it through, I hate it more. I'm sorry.
I know, but you know what would be amazing?
What's that?
Okay, Natalie goes in just completely stacked. It'd be amazing if someone wins the challenge who had no tokens, no nothing, just goes and aces the challenge. That'd be
like
funny.
Maybe Ethan.
Yeah, poor Ethan. I got nothing. Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah. Well, that's totally possible, right? And
yeah.
I mean, I just think it would be really fitting too, because I think your winner pick on the podcast was Ethan, and
right.
You picked Chris Underwood to win as well. So it'd be really funny if Ethan pulls out the same type of win that Chris Underwood does. Because here I am all stoked that my winner pick, Denise, is actually in the final 5, which this is a rarity. So, sometimes I do get usually my winner pick goes out at 6. I would say that's the average. They do pretty well. Not the last couple seasons, but that's typically what happens. But yeah, that would just be fitting if Ethan ends up winning anyways, and that he's like the only one I'm here for. I would be like, Ethan, yeah, go ahead and win. That's fine. Or maybe like Tyson, because Tyson, already was back in the game once, but that means he's voted out twice, which, Yeah.
What about someone who was recently voted out, like Jeremy, Nick, or Kim?
I think I'd be okay with like a Jeremy win. Nick is no, I don't see that. No, I like Nick.
Nick.
There's nothing wrong with Nick.
I like Nick too. I never had anything against Nick.
Right. He's just in a tough spot here to be rootable.
He never had much of a chance being the most recent winner. I don't think anyone was going to really take him seriously, and he didn't help his chances with some of his goofy antics. Or maybe that probably didn't matter so much in the gameplay scheme of things, but.
So let's say whoever gets back in the game is out right away. Okay. Then so final 3 in my estimation would probably be Ben, Michelle, and Sarah.
That might be interesting. Sarah really Michelle really touched a nerve with Sarah when she said, "You're not going to beat Tony." That was the perfect thing to say, because it set Sarah off so bad. But is she wrong?
No.
Where's the lie? Wrong. Did Michelle lie?
Where's the lie? Yeah. I think Michelle is playing a strong game. She's proven that she's a great player. I don't think that anybody questions that at this point. I feel like she has a really strong chance of winning. I think she even could beat Sarah at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Between Michelle and Sarah, I think it might be closer than you think.
Yeah, I think
Because
Michelle might
people
win.
might call Sarah out for just riding along with Tony because that's just what happens in those types of partnerships. Whereas Michelle's been like, I mean, she's been out of all the votes. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And so that might work against her. But she's also been an underdog. So.
Okay, we got some comments from our loyal listener, GB. First of all, GB says, the end is near. And yes,
the end is nigh.
Also, technically, Natalie will have 2 because Tyson promised that he'll give the idol back to Natalie.
Well, so she can't use it.
I believe that's after the game, though. Like, Tyson said she can have it as a souvenir because he can't give it back to her while
Yeah, you're right.
she's in the
You
game.
can't send it into the game. They're going to be at Ponderosa drinking
she won't
margaritas.
have 2 to use, but she will at least get a souvenir out of the deal if she gets back in, which is cool. And also, Ben, Michelle, and Sarah, yikes.
I mean, yeah, I'm starting to talk myself into, oh yeah, that'd actually be interesting. Not the Ben part, because we know Ben's not going to win, but the Michelle and Sarah might be kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to make myself be content with any final 3 mix up, because I'm so tired of people throwing Ben's name out there and then it just shrivels away and dies and nothing comes of it.
Yeah, I mean, this episode was they laid it on thicker in this episode than they ever have so far. Of Ben really could. I really thought for a second Ben was going home. I mean, not during any of the tribal councils, but all of the scramble leading up to them. They had you thinking this was it, but no, not today.
Not any day. Not ever, apparently.
It's just not
happening.
What
I was thinking, though? I was thinking, because I've accepted that he's going to the finale, which he did, how poetic it would be if he made it to the final 4 fire making and lost.
Yeah, that's because that's how he got in to win, right?
I almost want that to happen. But then if he wins it, bad memories, but...
And wasn't it speculated that challenge or fire making was invented for Ben, or was that invented for someone else?
Yeah, he is the person who benefited from the very first fire making challenge. He lost that final immunity. Chrissy was going to take Ryan and Devin and vote Ben out, finally get him out, and then they threw this twist. Oh, you don't get to pick. You have to pick who you're taking. And Devin and Ben will fight to the death. Yeah,
and it wasn't known by the players that season, right?
No, it was a surprise. And to us. What a lovely twist.
Yeah. Not great, Bob.
No.
Man, there's just so much that happened in this episode. It's like hard to know where to begin.
Just take it by subject, so we can go back to the first.
Do you want to go to just start from the beginning, kind of?
I don't think we need to go through beat by beat. Like, we can hit general topics, but yeah, we can go to the beginning.
Okay. Yeah, Denise painted a board.
They have very crafty out there. They have a calendar, and it has, on the days they voted a person out, they have the initial of the person that was voted out. It's very detailed. They know what date. They know the date that it is. It's very impressive. But I've never seen a season where they use paint more than this season. They're always painting. Yeah,
they do paint a lot. Like when Michelle was kind of planting seeds in Sarah's mind.
Yes.
They were painting at that time.
That bright green. Yeah. And you can just see Sarah losing it. I don't know how people, if when Michelle went up to Sarah, and I know we're skipping ahead to the second hour, but when she was like, "No, Michelle, you're not on the bottom." Like, yes, I am. Like, you're not doing a very good job of convincing. Like, that's such a BS general answer to appease somebody. Oh, Michelle, stop it. I wasn't very impressed by the way she handled that. But I was impressed by Michelle just going for it. I thought that was amazing.
Right, yeah, and that was mentioned in Tribal Council by Michelle. Jeff asked a lot of great questions in these Tribal Councils. That's one thing I noticed. Yeah. There were some really cool questions, and it led to some interesting conversation. But yeah, he asked Michelle, so how, she's like, I know I was on the block. And he's like, how do you know you're on the block? Which is a great question, right? And Michelle's like, well, people basically say to you, they're like, they don't talk about strategy. They say, hang in there, you can do it. Like, like they
Which
try
just
to,
makes you want to punch him more.
yeah, they try to encourage you vaguely. Like, it's not over, hang in there, buddy. As they, so they can just vote you out. But, yeah, I forgot where I was going with that.
That's okay. I mean, I really liked Michelle in the second half when Nick came up to her after Nick had voted out Jeremy. And she was like, oh, I'm surprised you actually had the balls to come over here and talk to me. She was amazing in that moment where she really let him have it. And it really it worked out to make Nick look like the idiot because he used 8 tokens to put that disadvantage on Ben. Michelle reaped the benefit of that. She won it, with or without Nick's help. She won it, and Nick is the person who takes the fall. I thought that was extremely poetic.
Yeah, all of that was really good stuff, and yeah, I liked when she laid into Nick too. I mean, the first thing she said to him was the most I don't know. She says, where do you see us going from here? Like what's the path forward from here, Nick? Like, okay, you got out, you went with them, they got out Jeremy. Now what do we do? And he kind of like didn't have an answer. He's like, yeah, sorry about that.
I think it clicked into place for him, and
yeah,
he was a really good sport and he handled it well, but yeah, it clearly was not the move for him.
No. We also get one of the best scenes. I think this is one of my favorite scenes of Survivor of all time. Would be Jeremy and Tony, fireman and the cop, talking about like how many days are in a week.
Like, I don't understand how this is an argument. There are 7 days in a week. Like, how is Tony arguing this point? But it was so funny that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it starts off where like Tony is almost legitimately serious and Jeremy's kind of right. He's like, you need to go back to school, dude. There's 14 days in a week. 9 days is more like 1 week than 2 weeks. And it starts off kind of serious, that's funny in itself. But then the way they both just have this, like you said, like a cop firefighter busting each other's balls things, like Tony kind of stays in that and they just go back and forth and they let the camera linger on them for like a minute of them just arguing like this. And I loved it, man. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, there have been like no reward challenges this season, and I think they heard some of the complaints towards the middle of the season about, there's not enough time, we don't understand these votes. So the last few episodes have been really good at just focusing on the camp dynamic and explaining the relationships and stuff, and yeah, it's been much better for it, I think. Yeah,
absolutely. So talk to me about that. This was a pretty slick move where I think it was Ben and Sarah. Sorry, not Ben and Sarah. Tony and Sarah.
Ben doesn't make slick moves.
Yeah, that's not right. Yeah, no. Tony and Sarah make Ben believe their entire intention is to make Ben think it's his idea to get out Nick, because all to keep their numbers where they want them. Basically, they need Ben and Jeremy. Yeah, talk to me about that a little bit.
I mean,
or did I say
what more proof do you need that Tony and Sarah are an incredible team? Tony, I've noticed in this season much more than in Cagayan, where he was just kind of a force of chaos. He's got this really good way of talking one-on-one to people where he's kind of forcing his will, but then at the end, he's like, oh, but it's you, or he kind of, or like, oh, don't feel bad, or oh, don't worry. It's just a self-deprecating, endearing thing that he does when he's talking to someone and he wants them to do his bidding, which they always do.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
By just ending it with this like really nice and self-deprecating and just cute kind of thing. And he did it with Ben. He did it with a bunch of people tonight. He did it with Nick. Yeah. And yeah, it was just interesting to see them separately work their magic.
Right, like when he decided he wanted to flip it to Denise because he found out she wanted him gone, he was doing those same kind of tactics just he was having those one-on-one conversations and just kind of like letting people kind of like, using that strategy you just talked about. which is awesome. Like he said to Ben, it's up to you, bro. Like, it's up to you, bro.
Yeah.
But really, he's saying, Nick.
He's not. That's not what he means.
Yes, exactly.
He means you're going to do what I say because, I'm Tony.
Okay, I'm guessing you enjoyed the part where Ben couldn't find his ball.
Yeah, of course. I mean, what's not to love?
Yes.
Yeah, I felt bad for Michelle in that challenge. But it was also kind of funny. Like, she just could not get to the ball in time to turn around and catch it. But
yeah, she was terrible.
Okay.
She was terrible at this challenge. And
yeah, that was not her jam. But the next one was right in her wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So.
And I liked in the tribal too when Jeff says, "You suck today," and do you realize that all of America is going to be watching you? And she's like, "Yeah, thanks, Jeff." I always love that when people are like, "Thanks a lot, Jeff, you asshole."
Yeah, I mean, they're probably more comfortable with him after winning a season. They can give it back to him a little bit. She also mentioned his blue button down and khakis, which was also very
yeah, used it in like an analogy format too, which is amazing. Yeah, just so many analogies. I noticed them more than ever. They're just like, that's how they all talk now. It's like every sentence is an analogy, a comparison.
Yeah, ever since Cochran, they've really started to hammer that home. They know that Probst likes that. I feel like the jury has to be super on board with Michelle, right? Because everyone gives her their fire tokens when they leave.
Yeah,
and she's always making jokes at tribal council, and she's got to have some people leaning her way over there.
Yeah, I mean, she would be on the Mount Rushmore of social games, and she's doing it again. I mean, just like I talked about at the beginning of this season, listening to her at a podcast, you can hear in her voice and the things she says, just like how enamored you would be with her talking to her, because she's a good listener too. Yeah, she's fantastic at the social game.
I think if Tony doesn't end up in the final three, I don't know. I think Michelle might have a shot there.
I think so. What did you think of Ben trying to
turn Jeremy and Michelle against each other
with the advantage? He's gonna ask you for it.
Of course, they're gonna talk to each other. What do you think? These are not dumb heroes and hustlers. Who even those people outfoxed you, Ben? These are winners. This is not gonna. And not only are they winners, they're the two closest people on the tribe, other than Tony and Sarah, which is a whole thing we can talk about in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how on what planet he thought that was going to work. I mean, it ended up working out for him because Jeremy still went home, but he was not slick. He thought he was, but he was not.
Yep, these are not heroes, nor healers, nor hustlers.
They're winners. There are no H's here.
And
these
I mean,
are W's.
It's super obtuse to not realize how close Michelle and Jeremy are. I mean, even before the game started, they were kind of like a pair, right? I mean,
yeah.
And
he was with Natalie, Jeremy, Michelle. They were a trio from the beginning.
Yeah, from the jump. Yeah. So I don't know how he hasn't picked up on that yet.
He's completely an emotional, hot-headed mess. The fact that that it's known around camp that you hate Jeremy Collins, that says more about you than it does about him, because you can't hate Jeremy Collins.
Yeah,
the end.
It's not allowed.
No.
Yeah. So how did that vote break out? Did Tony actually get his 3-2-1 he was going for there, or was it?
There was a 3-2-1, and I wasn't paying attention.
Maybe I got my numbers wrong. Maybe it'd be a 3-2-2 then or something. Because there were 7 at the time, weren't there?
I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was a 3-2-2.
Yeah,
no.
I know that's what he was going for. Was he said you 3 vote Jeremy, you 2 are voting Michelle, and then
it was 3-2-2.
A couple others or something. So I think he did. Tony got his way on that vote as well.
Yeah, it's there's this whole plan, and it's the easy plan. This is the formula for this season, and then Tony says, you know what?
What about this?
I don't like that plan. And then he goes and mixes it up. I guess with Nick vote out, he did not get Denise voted out, but they didn't show us what shifted there. But yeah, he always has to come up with an alternative plan, and usually he gets his way.
It's insane, dude. GB is asking, do you guys watch Big Brother?
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately. It's been pretty trash the last couple years. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be on this year. And I was going to try to not watch this year, and silver lining, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Big Brother. I tried to give it a chance a couple times. We did actually podcast about it for a few episodes, I think. But
What season was that? I don't even remember.
I couldn't even tell you which season we podcasted
Neither could I.
to be honest. I want to say it was, God, it's right there. There's like people.
It was a Paul season, I think. Paul?
No,
it doesn't matter. It was pointless. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
I was a big fan in the earlier days. And then after All Stars, I was really disgusted with Boogie. For some reason, I know everybody loves him now, but and then I didn't watch till 14, which ironically was the next Mike Boogie season, but I digress.
Yeah, so in that tribal, Jeff asked some awesome questions, but I didn't write down in my notes clear enough to remember exactly what he asked. I have something about schizophrenia. What was he asking about? Schizophrenic personalities. Who are you to who?
I have no recollection of that. All I remember is that it was a really long tribal council, but it was blissfully free of whispering or scrambling. It was just like a really cool question and answer discussion and they got kind of really emotional where they were talking about like, can you trust people in your real life again? And most of them were like, no.
Yes.
Like,
that was the
horrifying.
other great question I liked was, I just thought that was, and that's just the benefit of having this 2-hour episode, I think, is they had the time to show us this. But I really enjoyed that, him asking them, so what's it like after you win and go back to your real life, and getting to hear them all talk about that a little bit. I just thought that was really interesting. It's something outside of the game. It doesn't seem to have much impact on the game other than, who can you trust and all that. But I just liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was nice. I felt like that was probably the closest I ever felt to like being at a tribal council, because you hear about how they're like 2 hours long. Obviously, we weren't there for 2 hours, but it felt more like genuine, like you were listening to the actual flow of the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. So that schizophrenic question, he was talking about personalities and like how you have to play different personalities of different people. It's like you're always on and you're always being the person the other person wants you to be, sort of.
Yeah, that's a misconception. Schizophrenia is not multiple personalities. That's dissociative identity disorder. So a lot of people mix those two up, and that's not correct. So
Right. So it was the wrong use of the term technically, but I just thought that was an interesting discussion. Mm-hmm. And so I thought Jeff and the producers did a good job on that one. Yeah, Jeremy talks about how he wasn't right for 3 months, couldn't trust anybody, couldn't even trust his fellow coworkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Michelle ends up using her coin flip.
50-50.
It's looked pretty obvious that she'd been practicing and did this like a one flip thing, right? I mean, the coin flipped one time.
Yeah.
It just flipped one time and
landed. To go like this and let it.
Right. She held it up, flipped it intentionally one time over. Yeah, she had this planned. I mean, or she had it down.
I bet you're right. I mean, the coins in Survivor, just like the challenges where you have to sneak into someone's camp, they never go the other way. I mean, they're always going to work out the way, they're supposed to, that the Survivor gods want them to. By that, I mean producers. Survivor
gods, yep. Yeah. Did you notice Wendell's beard comb?
Yeah, he's always combing his beard.
Oh, this is new to me. This is the first time I saw it.
Not on the island, but on Extinction, apparently somewhere he got one. He didn't have it in the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the first time I'd seen it, but I was assuming he had carved it because he's like a wood carver, so I assumed that was something.
He probably did.
Okay. Yeah, because it looked like it was like a birch wood, like a light white wood, so that's cool.
He's very good with that stuff.
So they get back to camp after the vote out, and Tony does some damage management with Benjamin.
What does he do with Benjamin? Remind me.
He just talks to him and basically solidifies their final two. Basically,
God, I love Tony. And I know he's using Ben as a blunt instrument, but it kills my soul a little bit to see him just buttering up to Ben.
Yeah,
Ugh.
but I mean, you should take solace in the fact that Ben is nothing but a pawn in Tony's game.
Yes. No, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
So take solace in that.
I thought it was news to me, unfortunate and unwelcome news to me, that Tony's final three is Sarah and Ben. I mean, I guess that's the price you have to pay for getting Tony to the end if it works. But
yeah, it's a trade-off. You can't have Tony at the end in a season like this without having Ben at the end in a season like this.
What would be the most interesting final three?
Tony, Michelle, and Sarah.
Ooh, yeah, that might be good. What about, I guess, the edge person? I hate that. We don't know who one of the members of the final six is. That's just wrong. I hate that.
Yeah, I love Denise, and she's my winner pick, obviously, but I just feel like she becomes like less and less interesting as the season goes on. So
they haven't focused on her, and it's not because she's not cool or interesting. She's just not been driving things.
I feel like she's not giving them like the kind of TV that everyone else is giving them. You know, they did try to give her some stuff.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. She's just, or they're trying to give her some stuff with the whole endure and let go. They're giving her like a mantra that applies to her game. Yeah. And so, you know, maybe they'll play into that more if she makes the final three and all that stuff. But so there's something there. I just feel like at this point, I think I'd much rather see like Tony, Michelle, and Sarah than Denise. Although Denise could be interesting too because she has the Queen Slayer moment. That's gonna give her a shot. You know.
They're still talking about it. It's pretty rare to still be talking about a move that is so long ago. That's how powerful of a move that was. Like, it's still getting mentioned.
Right, yeah. Jury.
Just around camp.
The jury, yeah. Everybody knows about it. And,
yeah.
I mean, how does a move like that not live on, you know?
Denise burned her so bad that Sandra left. She's the only one that's not there. Like, Denise got her so hard that Sandra's just gone.
Yeah, like...
She was completely vanquished.
Yeah, just evaporated her. Just gone. Not even a chance. I thought it was funny on the edge when Yule's coming back. Yule's coming back with the sign and he's like reading it, you know, before he gets there. And then I think it was like Boston Rob was joking. He's like, Yule should just throw that down and start running. Like, like how funny would that be if he just throws it and goes for it, you know? Because it turns out that's exactly what it was, right? It was like a challenge where once again they use war analogies. Yeah, but it's like a bomb went off. Everybody.
Boy, that's one thing I'm not gonna miss about this season.
So many bomb and bullet analogies. At
least we're not getting Ben bombs.
Yeah, well, he's got a Ben bomb in his pocket, so that's coming.
But Tony knows. The wrong person knows about that bomb.
It doesn't matter. The last time he can play it is now. So he'll play it.
I want to see him walk out with that thing in his pocket.
It's impossible.
A grenade with the pin still in it.
It's impossible. He'll play it. It's the last time
he won't. He's dumb.
He would be really dumb to not play it the last chance he had.
I know.
Oh my God. He can't be that dumb.
I love it.
He can't be that dumb. So. So Natalie gets the box and I don't even remember that was interesting. The disadvantage. Right? Yeah. So let's talk about that. Tell me about the disadvantage.
I knew he was going to play it on Ben because he said that's who he wanted out. So that made sense to me. Yep. What doesn't make sense to me is the lack of action on anyone's part, including Nick's with the disadvantage against Tony. Like, what the hell are you idiots drinking out there? Tony was not immune tonight. I mean, he had an idol, and they know about it on some level, but why they didn't even try? Like, what is the explanation there? I have a theory, but I want to see what you think.
Well, first of all, we get footage of Nick saying that Tony's like my dude out here. Tony's my guy. And we've gotten that several times throughout the season. So we know that Nick and Tony are working together very closely. So I think it's a testament. I mean, Tony is not only playing a crazy kind of throw it at the wall kind of game, but he's also playing a solid social game as far as alliance building. He has a strong alliance with the right people. He's figured out the ones he can trust, and it's worked out. All the people there are working with Tony. Legitimately.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think that he's promised Final 3 to everyone left, besides Michelle, who he openly wanted out?
I mean, I would think so. Like, how else is anybody going to trust you if you haven't promised them Final 3?
You know what is... It's crazy to me that the very first tribal council where Natalie was voted out, people were concerned about relationships and pairs. It was Jeremy and Natalie, who had a prior relationship, and then Denise and Adam, which was a brand new partnership. But they were so concerned about partnerships that they had to vote one of those people out. Sarah and Tony
Cops are us.
like the closest partnership in the game, other than Rob and Amber. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Get one of them.
Yeah, I mean,
Sarah's was totally up for grabs. Both tribal councils. No idols, no necklace. What?
Yeah. I don't get it either. But Tony's he's built these alliances and he's picked the right people
Sarah
to trust.
Too. I think they both are just that good. I mean, granted, you have Ben there who's following Tony around like a little puppy dog, and Sarah too.
Yeah.
But the other ones are smart, and Michelle's onto them, but she had no power. It's just so crazy to me.
Yeah, I really think these cop skills are paying off for these guys.
Yeah, I don't think they should ever let cops play again. It's just not fair.
It's not fair. I mean, and then speaking of Big Brother, you think of like Derek, such a dominant player.
He never told anyone he was a cop, though. He couldn't play again. Well, obviously, because people know what he can do. But cop skills.
Tony never told anyone he was a cop either.
He told Sarah eventually once she sniffed it out.
She sniffed it out because she's a cap. Yeah. GB with the comments tonight. Thanks, GB. We appreciate some tangents. I really expected the comeback challenge to be featured in the last 20 minutes of the show with a cliffhanger ending.
Yeah, I was a little shocked at the turn they took to just show, a recap of the season. That was a choice. I guess I appreciated them putting it here, and therefore at the beginning of the finale, we're just going to go right into the challenge, I would imagine. We're not going to waste any time there, just right into it. But yeah, they had 10 minutes. They could have showed the beginning of the challenge, and it would suck to have a cliffhanger, but at least you would cut off some time for the next episode. But I guess they took care of that with the recap. I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah, we thought the same thing. I believe we even messaged about it. Sometimes we message during the episode. Typically, I message during commercials because I like to be real focused on the show.
Okay.
But yeah.
I like to talk shit, which is why I talk during the actual show.
Yeah. And we thought the same thing. I did I had a huge smile on my face during the recap. But I think quite frankly, I would have liked a little taste of the challenge better than a recap. We didn't need the recap. I'm assuming that means they're leaving it off. They're making room for the finale, right?
Yeah, they better leave it off. If I have to sit and watch that again, I'm going to be what the hell's wrong with you idiots?
What are you guys using your time for? I don't understand. Okay.
Yeah.
So did you enjoy Michelle's dance, her victory dance?
I mean, I was excited for her, but I thought the dance was a little embarrassing. But, it's fine.
I liked it. I thought it was fun.
It worked. She was excited.
And then what does Ben do?
I don't know. What does Ben do? Does he do a happy dance because Jeremy's finally gone, the person he hates for some reason?
I thought for sure you would remember what Ben did here.
I block it from my memory at this point.
He asks Jeff, any chance I can ask who gave me the disadvantage?
Oh, at the challenge. I thought you meant when she did the coin.
Nope. She danced after she won. Sorry. Yep.
She danced twice tonight.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was that just speaks. I mean, I know I beg on Ben so hard, but at this point I'm leaning into it. The season's almost over. It's my last chance.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Ben. We gotta. You're a character on TV. You're the villain. We gotta lay into you, buddy. Okay.
I'm sure you're fine in your real life, but on Survivor, okay. So I couldn't believe he even thought that was worth saying with words from his mouth out loud.
Right. I think I would place this above. This is worse than Adam trying to play the podium as an immunity item.
Yeah. Like, what do you think? You're just so special? Because Ben has gotten special treatment from Survivor and Probst before, and he expected it again. But that would completely blow up this person's game. I guess that person ended up getting voted out anyway. Ben isn't aware that the person who screwed him just got screwed themselves. But, you know, why would they mess with the game to help you, Ben?
Yeah, I think one thing you could do is you could go back and watch this season again, and you will see Ben's sense of entitlement come through time and time again this season. Especially a couple episodes when we talked about it last week, but it's like almost worth saying again, how he was mad at Jeremy for saving himself. I mean, if that doesn't scream, I will
never get over that.
If that doesn't scream entitlement.
Do you think it's a jealousy thing? Because they both kind of had the same deal where they believe that no one could beat them at the end in their respective seasons. But Jeremy is more so that person. Like, if you compare the two, no one's going to want to sit next to Jeremy at the end. Like, was it a jealousy thing?
That's possible.
That's the only thing I can think of.
It's possible, but I see Jeremy different in the sense that, like, people didn't think of that in second chances. They just let Jeremy get there. That's true. He just was there at the end and like, oh shit, I forgot about him. Whoops.
Yeah. That's what I don't understand about. They were so focused on Jeremy. We no one can beat him at the end. We got to get him out. Hello, Tony. Like, what? This person you're working with has just as good a shot at the end as Jeremy, and yet you're not concerned about him. It's flabbergasting. Is that a word?
Flabbergasting. Usually it's past tense, like I was flabbergasted.
But I was flabbergasted. I'm still flabbergasted.
We're presently flabbergasting.
I mean, I love it. I love it that I'm flabbergasting over Tony still being there, but I'm just dumbfounded that he is.
Yeah, me too. So talk to me about Denise and the dejected survivor role. So is this an actual gameplay move, or is this Denise pretending that it's gameplay move and really this is how she actually feels? Because I feel like this happens sometimes in Survivor. They just call their actual actions and feelings game moves. What do you think?
Yeah, I have two thoughts about this.
Okay.
The first thought is Denise probably would have been cool going home because she has to go one night at the edge challenge. She goes to Ponderosa. She probably would have been fine with that. She's probably really sick of the game. Yeah. That's probably not untrue.
She sure seems
But my second thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. My second thought is that Denise is so next level, okay, that she knows that if she makes the vote easy, Tony and company are going to be like, nope, no easy votes here. I got to flip it up. So that's my thought there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's possible that she's that good. Because
she's that smart.
Because that is the right move in this spot, is to really play down your threat level. Because that's the whole reason they're considering you in the first place, is because you're a big threat. And because you don't.
She had nothing to lose buying the rice. They said it was the last day you could spend fire tokens. Like, literally nothing to lose. So.
Yeah. Good point. I didn't think of that either. Yeah, so why not feed yourself, make everyone think you're helping them out, like play the martyr. Is martyr appropriate there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if it is mostly gameplay or more gameplay than actual whatever, solid stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, she sure looked smug at the end when she was not voted out. She had a smirk on her face. So
yeah, like when she did the whole.
She seemed like she did something. Yeah.
Yeah, she kind of opened up the doors of her hands to the jury, like, I'm still here.
Yeah, Sophie seemed convinced that it wasn't a ploy, though, because Adam was like, is this a fake out? And Sophie was like stone-faced. She was like, no.
Yeah.
I think Sophie has been I think she's taken it really hard. She seems
100%.
out
100%
of it.
Sophie is jealous, bitter.
I was thinking more like emotionally spent, but okay.
Oh, and that. Jealous, bitter, and, maybe jealous and bitter because she's so emotionally spent. And I don't blame her by any sense.
No.
I would be like that times 10. Like,
She was playing a hell of a game.
Yeah, like, it's really difficult to see that get ripped out from under you. But granted, that's the name of the game. She got blindsided with an idol in her pocket, so she got played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll feel better when she goes to Ponderosa. Granted, she doesn't win. They didn't even show her. I know she has tokens, but they didn't even show her tonight. So
Yeah, like didn't everybody get to talk about the final challenge? And
even Danny talked.
And she didn't?
Yeah, Amber talked for like 5 minutes, not that long, but she talked for a long time. Like, everybody talked.
Amber's like the first lady. She's like the first lady of Survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. She deserved that little spotlight there.
And I really liked what she had to say too. I loved that's what she really encapsulated what she was gonna miss about the Edge of Extinction. And yeah, you imagine what life is like for Amber back home, and I think they have 4 kids. I mean, that's got to be nuts,
Yeah.
They used to have a couple mil,
Yeah.
They got money. Just she talked about how everything slows down, or she gets to slow down, and everything's so simple, right? Simplicity. I thought that was kind of a beautiful message from her.
Yeah, I hope she took a lesson from Extinction, and I know it's hard when you have 4 little kids to slow down, but I hope she's able to do that more.
And I also thought about it in the context of like COVID and everything. Like, whenever someone says like this is a chance to slow down and think about what really matters, you can't help but think of that context too.
Yeah, that's true. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm boring Catie, everyone.
No, I'm just Yanni today.
Very Yanni. You've been yawning the entire podcast.
Not Yanni, the new age musician.
We can do
Yanni.
a super cut at the end of this episode of Catie just yawning over and over again.
Sure, if you want to. That sounds like work.
Yeah, I probably won't do that. So Nick did pretty solid here at this point when he doesn't he kind of convince Tony the argument that, okay, here's Ben won his season by winning fire, right? And also finding treasure.
He's a pirate, basically.
But yeah, talk to me about Nick's argument here. What is
I mean,
Nick's
at
argument?
first I thought it was kind of weak, but the more I thought about it, I was like, geez, they're at 6. He has an idol. He's going to 5. If they don't get him at 5, he's in fire making, and that's it. I mean, who cares if he gets to final 3? I think Tony wants him to get to the final 3, so I'm not sure that using it with Tony was entirely convincing. Obviously, it wasn't because they didn't vote him out, but when I thought about it after he said it, I thought it made sense.
Yeah, I didn't get it right away until you said it in the message. But to me, Nick is actually 100% right, and Ben is 100% the right move right here. Because, yes, he doesn't need to play his idol here, right? So he gets through with the idol. At 5, it's the last time he can play it. He's guaranteed safety at 5. At 4, what is it? Fire making challenge. He wins fire making challenges. Then what? He's in the final 3. So this is your only chance to get him right now, and they don't do it. And Tony seemed on board with it at first.
Yeah, except I have another thought. Perhaps Tony is more comfortable with knowing where the 2 idols are. Well, I guess if he votes him out with an idol, it doesn't... Well, he probably doesn't want an idol... Sorry, I'm working through this in my brain.
It's the last chance.
If he votes him out with an idol in his pocket, and he's the only one that knows about the idol, he can go out and find that idol, and no one else will know that there's one to be found. So I would vote him out.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry, I just worked that out.
That's okay. Plus, if he lets Ben go this week, Ben is guaranteed safety next week. he has an idol. He's going to play it. Like,
Yeah.
there is literally no reason not to vote Ben, other than, like you did say it. Tony wants Ben in the final 3. So yeah, let him get through. Let him play his idol. Whatever. Maybe part of Tony's thinking is too, look, I've gotten Ben this far. Ben is my buddy. Maybe Tony thinks Ben might play an idol for him next week. And as a matter of fact, maybe Ben will play an idol for Tony next week.
You know, now that we're talking about it, I keep forgetting Edge person comes back. So there are 2 more chances to play an idol, 6 and 5. So if Ben plays his at 6...
Then they do have a shot at him.
You could get him out at 5, but if he feels comfortable, he's not going to play it at 6.
Yeah.
Plus, so next week, if he wants Ben out, if he doesn't want Ben at the end, they got to get him next week.
Right, but yeah, I think we're pretty much convinced that Tony 100% wants Ben at the end, right? So
yeah. I mean, I love Tony, and I would like to see him in the final 3, but I want to see someone mount a resistance. Like an actual attempt at a resistance. Take out Sarah. Don't take out Tony, but whatever. Just try. Come on, people.
Well, based on the preview, it looks like that's what Michelle is going to do, right?
Yeah, Tony sounded mad. I've never heard him talk like that. He sounded really pissed.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that. I just heard Sarah. I just saw that Sarah wasn't listening to Tony. Like he was trying to.
It sounds like they're
gonna
just
hear me out, Sarah. Like just listen to me. Just hear me out. Like he wants to do something, and Sarah is not on board with it. Yeah.
I'm sure it's vote out Ben because Sarah will not give up Ben. But
yeah, I don't get that.
After that, they showed Tony in a confessional, and his tone of voice was just kind of like scary.
Oh boy, I missed that. I
imagined it.
I see that Tony. Yeah, it was all a dream.
I don't know why I'd imagined that, but it just seemed a little off. He seemed not normal Tony.
But yeah, you get Michelle saying, "I'm trying to shake up this game." It had a little bit. Yeah, it had a little bit of that. It rang of what's her name, Sierra, who was always like.
Ugh, I know exactly.
What did she say again? What was her thing?
Come on, let's play.
Yeah, you got to make big moves. I want to play. I want to play the game. I'm trying to play the game.
There's one person I hate more than Ben, and I think it's her.
Oof. Sorry.
I'm sure she's watching.
Yeah, well, of course. Our biggest fan, Sierra Easton.
She voted out her mom, Easton.
Sierra, she voted out her mom,
That's her
Easton.
full name.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so what did you think of the return of the spy nest?
I mean, I'm glad it came back. I'm glad it wasn't just that one little blip and nothing. So he seemed to get some actual intel from it. He knows that, I guess he learned that Denise doesn't want to go to the end with him, but like, duh, Tony, nobody wants to go to the end with you except Sarah, apparently.
Right.
And Ben.
Yeah, and what's crazy about that was enough to get him to flip his entire, because like we talked about Nick talking to Tony about, Ben, now is the time to get Ben, and how it seemed like Tony was on board with that, right? Mm-hmm. And it was the way it was shown to us. It was this moment that got him to flip to Denise. But yeah, I mean, you make a good point. It's like, is that a huge surprise that nobody wants to go to the end with you?
Yeah, like, why are you surprised by that? It's like very apparent to me. Yeah. What I thought was really interesting is that like the last 3 weeks have done a good job of really setting Tony up as like the master of this back half of the game. But then in this episode, he kind of took a back seat a little bit. He kind of, I mean, I know he was probably still pulling strings, but I don't know. What do you think that says about his chances in the finale? That he kind of, sort of, as much as Tony can, faded back a little bit.
Yeah, that's a really good point. As much as Tony can, like
yeah,
because he's so prominent and such a big character that you don't really notice when he fades to the background.
Right. Well, when he's one of 6 people there, he's not going to fade into the background. But he wasn't like so out in front.
Right. But that's coming on the heels of last week, right? Where I think it was last week where he was like literally the star of the show, or was that the week before?
2 weeks ago,
2 weeks
like
ago,
no
yeah.
one has ever been more of a star of an episode. So
Right.
yeah, compared to that,
I think he had the most confessionals in an episode of all time, maybe beating out like Boston Rob or somebody. I can't
Chris
remember.
Underwood was up there, but that was the finale.
Oh, and they were
Like
looking at
that.
Cochran too, I think is yeah.
Like that was just a 1 hour episode. Most of the people that were in the same ballpark were in finales.
Yeah, like Cochran's finale or Chris Underwood's finale. Yep, exactly. Yeah, not much to say about the tribal where Nick goes out.
He handled it. Like Jeremy seemed kind of surprised and mad, but Nick was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? He's a student of the game, fan of the game.
Yeah,
You always say you're gonna be gracious when you get voted out, no matter what, right? That's what the people who love the game understand that. And yeah, you said it. Like, as a fan of the game, you also know how much luck is involved, and how great sixth place is really in the big
in an
team
all-winner
things.
season when you're the most recent winner. Yeah.
Yeah, so he should be proud.
Yep.
And right before he goes out, he does say that you got to take what the game gives you, and the game gave me Denise. Basically, is what he said. He's like, "Sorry, Denise, the game handed you to us. You're going home." And then, of course,
she didn't.
Yeah, and then he howls on his way out. Is this a thing?
That's the Tony thing. If you need any more proof that this is Tony's season, I mean, that's the noise Tony makes, and it's like the mating call of the season. Not mating, but like just the noise they make.
Yeah, I think I saw some of them doing it in the preview for the finale. Yeah. And Nick, was tight with Tony, so I suppose that was like an homage to him. So yeah, weird ending.
Yeah, it was cool to see all the Edge people getting ready. I liked that because that was new content, and we didn't really get that the last time before the Edge challenge. I liked how they showed us who spent their money on what, etc. Because we didn't get that last time. But the recap was, I mean, we've talked about it, just kind of a waste of 10 minutes. But I know they really wanted to respect this season and remind us what happened. So I'm glad they did it now and not waste our time next week.
Did Rob say he has an idol?
Yeah, apparently the idols they purchased before the last challenge are still good if they get back in the game.
Interesting. I found that very interesting.
Yeah.
Does he get to use that?
Only if he gets back in.
That's what I mean.
If he gets back in, yeah.
Is he gonna get back in? That's what I'm wondering. They show him saying, "I have an idol." It makes you go. They show
Natalie would do the same thing though.
That's true, and she has a much better chance. I mean,
and give it to Tyson.
Yeah. Didn't Tyson have I thought Tyson had like a really funny line in this episode. I don't think I wrote it down.
He did. He always does.
Oh, I did. Here it is. Tyson says she has become part of the island.
Yeah.
Talking about Natalie.
That's so true. It's funny how like Reem was like the symbol of extinction in the first one, and this year it's definitely Natalie. I mean, she crushed all the challenges.
Right. And she's been there.
Like one or two, and she's been there for over a month. So yeah. He's not wrong. Yeah.
So I hope I get this right, but Yul was really funny at this part too. He's still selling the idea of tokens to the viewers. He's still there pitching for tokens. He's like, I love these fire tokens. They add a new layer of duplicity.
He didn't say duplicity. He said 3 other words that ended in Y. Yeah. It was flexibility.
Complexity.
I was waiting for him to say duplicity, but he didn't. It was 3 other words.
So that was the first funny thing. And then the second funny thing, he's like, I'm inclined to use my tokens on the challenge. And I'm like, dude, of course you better be inclined. This is the last time you can use. This is your last chance. Of course you're going to use the tokens on the challenge.
What are you going to do? Put them in your pocket?
That was like, I'm pretty sure that was literally word for word. I'm inclined to use my tokens on the challenge.
Yeah, well, he's a robot. What do you expect from Yul?
I mean, this is kind of a weird statement coming from such a genius guy. I feel like the edge got to him a little bit here.
He's ready to go.
So we talked about how Natalie is stacked. She put in 32 days of work. She gets peanut butter. And that's pretty much it. We get a big recap. Oh, super funny moment from the recap. I gotta mention. So you get a quote. I believe it's from Mr. Boston Rob saying, "Some mentalities can handle it and some can't." And when he says some can't, they zoom in on Adam's face, like looking off, like confused or something. Like, just they're still being a dick to Adam.
Why?
I don't know.
He's
I don't get it.
Such a good like ambassador for the show. Like, why would they want to treat him that way?
Especially like, I mean, like, and how emotional his win was with everything with his mom and everything, and they're gonna do him like this right now. It's
rude. It's rude and disrespectful, and I don't care for it.
Okay, yeah. So you convinced me it's rude, but like, I also couldn't help but think it was really funny.
It is funny, unless they have such a good relationship with him that they know he's a good sport.
Yeah, like they're gonna give him shit. They might. That might be all it is.
He can handle it. Someone like Ben couldn't handle it.
All right. Well, that's it. Thank you for bearing with me. I know you don't like to do beat by beat or whatever, but I took so many damn notes.
Yeah,
and there was so much stuff I wanted to. There was so much stuff I wanted to talk about that I kind of
2-hour episode. Yeah.
I didn't know how else to do it without missing good stuff. So, thanks for that. Let's do MVPs.
Just a prediction. Well, MVP and then prediction for who wins.
For who wins, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna pick Michelle just because how awesome she was in the second episode and how she laid into Nick and gave everybody the business and got to Sarah and won the challenge, and her 50-50 worked, and I just think she was kind of the winner of this episode.
Yeah, it's tough to really think of anyone else. As I do a lot of weeks, like I kind of say, yeah, I would probably give it to Michelle too. This is
let you go first. I guess it's too late now.
Yeah, and this isn't one of those things where this isn't one of those weeks where I'd be like, yep, no question, Michelle. I will throw another one out there. I'll throw out my winner pick, Denise, because if this was like mostly agency on her part, it was a really good move. It was like the exact move she needed to do to make sure the target. Because if she plays this any differently, there's a really good chance that it ends up being her instead of Nick. So.
She knows her role. She knows who she is. She knows what move is going to work for her. And it did. Right.
Exactly. So I guess this is it. Like
the big one.
Yeah. Do you want to say like boot order in any capacity, or do you just want to pick the winner?
No, I think we just pick who wins because we don't even know the sixth person. It's just kind of pointless. So I say we just pick a winner.
Okay. Yep. Sounds good.
You go first this time.
I think Michelle's going to win.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm torn between Michelle and then my heart wants to say Tony. Yeah. So since you said Michelle, I'll just pick Tony and hope for the best.
I mean, we're in lockstep here. I'm 100% rooting for Tony, of course, obviously. But I just think I think Michelle's gonna win. Yeah. So,
interesting.
Yep.
It's time for a female to win.
Yeah, and it's crazy how times change, how far you can come in several years. Because I remember a few years back we were podcasting about Korong, and we really hated on Michelle pretty hard for
it was so shocking. It came out of nowhere. Yeah, we didn't get to see her game.
Right. We loved Aubrey too. Like Aubrey is one of our spirit animals, I guess.
I feel like the tide might have turned on Aubrey for me a little bit, but
yeah, well, that's what Survivor does. It chews you up and spits you out. I mean, hearing Aubrey on one of her latest podcasts with Rob was kind of tough because she was coming to terms with that concept that Survivor, the community, the viewers can turn on you so fast just based on an edit, so.
It's true.
But we loved her at the time, and
we did, and it's still weird to think she didn't win, and I do think that was one of the strongest cases of a bitter jury. But when I think back on it, I feel more upset that Sydney didn't win. She was also robbed in fire making, so a lot of people have been taken away from us due to fire making. So
yeah, I'd say that season we kind of loved Sydney and Aubrey equally, just about.
Yeah, and it was tough to see it come down to that.
Yeah, but Michelle has definitely, as we talked about, has proved her worth. as a player, and I just think she's got everything going for her at the end here. So
yeah, she's getting some momentum. It seems like the odds are against her, but
they're not.
I don't.
Yeah,
maybe
not in Survivor reality. The odds are in her favor actually right now.
Yeah, so those are the two picks, Tony and Michelle.
Sweet. And GB agrees. GB says torn between Michelle and Tony as well.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yep. It's weird that Sarah doesn't seem like she's going to win, but I don't know. Tonight, with the way she handled what Michelle was saying to her, it didn't seem like a winner to me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked by any means if she wins, but
right.
Yeah, I wouldn't put my money on her at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else you want to say before we close this one up?
I'll do it.
This one was over an hour, which is understandable with all the content.
2 hours, yeah.
Yeah. And we can talk about it off air if you want, Catie, but like next week is going to be what, 3 hours?
Yeah, it'll be late, so it might be a next day podcast for us.
Yeah. We can just commit to that right now. Maybe that it's going to be a Thursday podcast because we don't want to. There's going to be a lot to talk about for one thing, so it's probably going to be another hour one. And, and it's going to be like 10:30 by the time we. Well, not 10, but 10:30 by the time we get started.
That's bedtime.
Yeah, yeah, we're old, so yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys for listening. You could follow us on Twitter at TV is our real mom. Give us a thumbs up, a subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.